welcome to Teesside News. I'm Frankie Ahmed.
And I'm Paul Fogarty. Coming up in this week's programme.
Festival season is fast approaching, so what's the best music gig we can look forward to and how should we prepare?
We talk to the world's first transgender TV presenter.
And since it's St Patrick's Day today, what do students think?
But first, the results of the Student Union elections have been announced at a results party in the Terrace. After weeks of campaigning, Matthew Atkin won the race and became President-elect of the Students' Union. The vote count was very close, with Atkin beating second place finisher Joe Beckwith by just 27 votes. I'll hand over to Alex Backshall, who's here with President-elect Matthew Atkin.
Welcome, Matthew. So we've heard a lot in the recent weeks about the SU presidential elections, but what does the president of the SU actually do?
There's a lot that the president of the SU does. It's mainly about liaising with the senior management of the university, so you're talking about the vice-chancellor and the executive team, making sure that the views of all the students are heard at those higher levels, and basically communicating to them what we want and how we want it as a whole student-focused group.
And what was it that made you want to become president of the SU?
I've been here for 5 years now. I've been on a course for 4 years and took a year out in industry. And all over those 5 years, there's been a lot of positive change throughout the campus heart. The campus heart has changed massively. Student experience has been affected, and it's generally got a lot more positive since the first time I was here. So I've seen those changes over the last 5 years, and I really wanted to continue those positive changes and be part of that for the next few years.
So tell us a bit about the campaign trail. How long was the campaign? What kind of strategy did you have?
Well, the actual campaigning is really only 2 weeks long. But it's a lot more drawn out than that. People just think it's the 2 weeks, but it's a lot more than that. You've got about 6 weeks to plan, prepare, focus exactly what you're doing. So the actual 2 weeks of campaigning are sort of targeted to get out there as much as possible, get my face known, get my signs and banners seen, get out there and talk to students, really see what they wanted from the president, and see how I could tailor my own campaign towards that. And then when it got to the last week, which is obviously the voting week, where it's the most targeted approach, it was getting out there, meeting as many people as possible, talking to them, seeing if they've voted, if not, ask them why they haven't, explain the importance of the SU elections and the SU officer roles, and then really just getting out there to ask them to vote, and if they wanted to vote for me, then that would be fantastic as well, obviously.
So you obviously couldn't do all that on your own. What about the team that was behind your campaign?
There was a lot of teams going on throughout the campaign. You'll have seen Amy Preston, who's now VP Activities Re-elect, has had a massive team. Personally, I had a much smaller team. Myself and Tom, who's now VP Education elect, we went out every day together, campaigned together, and then we sort of joined the other elects as they were going around as well to get as many sort of campaign members as possible. But yeah, everyone's really friendly when you go out, no matter what team they're from. Everyone just works together to get every single category voted for and make sure that the university students have the best of knowledge on each category, and then make sure they have their say in each of them.
Yeah, so how do you think the students engaged with the campaign? Because I saw there was a money incentive. You could win money if you voted. So do you not think that hindered like democracy in a way?
Not really. I'd say it made it slightly harder for us as campaigners because the offer of winning money, I don't think it was money, I think it was final fling tickets, Dirty Disco tickets and things like that, and sweets. That was mainly just in the SU voting station, so if you came in and you voted there, then you'd get those prizes. So that's an independent voting station, so yeah, you get to read all the campaign manifestos. So I don't think it hindered democracy at all. I just think it brought an incentive in for people to actually vote, because a lot of people are like, well, what's the point? And then you have to explain to them about how important it is. But yeah, I don't think it did.
So now you're the president-elect. When do you actually start the job?
It'll be in July. Bruna finishes in the end of June, and then she'll hand over to me in July. So. And
what will be your first priority?
My first priority is networking with major national businesses to improve employability within Teesside. Careers fairs, especially for my school, have been a bit lacking over the last few years. So I want to bring in as many new companies as possible, get Teesside known out there for a whole range of schools and get them into careers fairs.
And what do you think the students most want from your presidency? What did you find was the most pressing issue on the campaign trail?
There's a lot that people think you can do as president, and you can do a lot. It's just about lobbying the university for the right things. A lot of people were complaining about car parking issues. and things like that, which are quite important for our students, because obviously a lot of them travel far, and if they can't get parked, then there's that whole issue of, well, how am I going to attend my lectures, etc. So I'd say probably the most important issue along the campaign trail was definitely car parking for most people. And then obviously you move on to the realms of the other officer positions. So semesters were obviously a big issue for education, sports clubs and societies for activities, and then just the general welfare campaigns and security and safety for welfare elect.
And how do you go about representing the uni on the kind of national stage? So I understand you go to NUS conferences and stuff. Yeah,
this year I missed out on NUS conference, but next year I'll go through as lead delegate, replacing Bruna. So basically we go down to a conference in April. This year it's in Brighton, and we basically lobby the views of our university amongst all the universities that attend NUS. So we'll get together as a team before we go, discuss what's happened over the last year, discuss what we voted on, why we voted on, and then get our views across to NUS.
Okay, well done on winning the election, and thanks for coming to speak to us today.
No worries.
Yep, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Matt.
Cheers, thanks.
Whether it's Glastonbury, Leeds or Download, many students will be heading off to a festival this summer. But surviving a British campsite can be tough. From crowds of people to England's notorious weather, there's a lot to contend with. We asked Tom Ducker about his festival survival guide.
Clothing wise, I mean, there's a fairly obvious one, being wellies, because like, to be honest, with the British weather, like, you're not going to survive a thing without it. You're going to get your trench foot and you're going to hate your life. You probably want to go home. Other than that, the obvious stuff: tent, clean pairs of clothes, loads of socks. Say you're going for 4 days, you need like 10 pairs of socks. I mean, booze wise, you can't actually take any glass in where Leeds Festival, and I don't think Download either. So make sure it's all in tins. If you want to bring like spirits and what have you, just decant it into a plastic bottle and you should be all right. Plan ahead. Like, if there's anything you're unsure about, like, talk to someone about it that has been to some festivals. If you plan on travelling quite heavy, make sure you've got some sort of transportation device. I mean, like, you can get a little trolley, something like that, or even a sledge if you feel like it. A lot of festivals that I've heard of offer some sort of festival taxi from either the coach or taxi drop-off point to whatever campsite you wish, which would be quite useful because, I mean, most people are going to turn up with a lot of cans. I mean, Leeds Festival, for example, the rule is as many as you can carry / sledge.
It's the drinking, the camping, it's the culture in itself is different.
And which music festival has taken your interest most this year?
Glastonbury.
Why was that?
The music's changing and it's the biggest one in here. So.
What I really love about music festivals is the atmosphere with friends and family, camping definitely, the music, alternative music and the different variety and stuff, and drinking and just having fun really.
This year Download's looking the strongest out with the festivals. Just like System of a Down are playing, Biffy Clyro, Aerosmith. So I think that'll be a good one. It's just everything. It's just like the atmosphere, the amount of bands that you get to see for the money, the people. It's just like a big community experience, isn't it? The music festival scene is probably changing a little bit, as I would say it is becoming more about the experience, especially things like Glastonbury, where it's always been big, but it's like there's more going on than the music now. So I would say it's becoming more about the event and the experience itself rather than the music as much.
Having lived most of her life trapped in the wrong body, India Willoughby is now the UK's first transgender journalist. She visited Teeside University to talk to students. James Barker has this report.
India Willoughby is the UK's first transgendered newsreader. She had the operation in 2015 to fully become the woman she always felt she was inside. She came to Teesside University to discuss her journey with students and to give some words of advice to people who are transgender.
I think the first big milestone for me after transition was actually going back to work and doing the job that I'd always loved, but at one time felt that I had to give up purely because I was trans. At the time I felt trans was a massive handicap and it was going to ruin my life. But having realised that wasn't the case, in a strange way, trans has actually turned out to be an advantage, certainly at the moment, because it's given me a novelty value, which has ended up with me getting a national profile. And while I'm grateful for that, actually I would like to lose the novelty thing. It'd be great to see more trans people come forward, and I think that certainly will happen in the future. And one of the things that I really enjoy is the fact that by telling my story and perhaps showing other people who are trans that you can have a successful career, you can follow your dreams, then that's going to help the next generation of reporters come through. I'd never been trolled as India until I got a big profile, and then all of a sudden it was like an avalanche of hate. You do get singled out and you become a bit of a hate figure for certain groups. How do you deal with that? I think you've just got to keep telling yourself that these are people that you're probably never going to meet. They're going to be 100, maybe 1,000 miles away. They're behind a keyboard and they're not in your face. And there's a really simple solution to it at the end of the day. You can either ignore them or you just hit that block button. Goodbye.
India spoke with guests afterwards and shared positive words of encouragement with others from the local transgender community.
I think the public sometimes don't understand, and I think it's okay for us, we're in the trans spectrum, and I think people that are out there, Joe public on the street, don't really understand. And people like India and Stephanie Hurst are a really good thing, because they may have heard of them before, and
Finally, it's St Patrick's Day today, popular with students because it's a good excuse to have a party. Let's take a look at the preparations at Teesside University's Student Union.
Promotion, we're doing a 1,000 pint giveaway. We've also got whiskey buckets, which in that you get 3 shots of whiskey, and you also get like Coke or lemonade, and that's only like $3.95, so it's quite cheap basically. We've got a variety of cocktails like Shamrock Shake and stuff. We're just kind of mixing it up, making it as Irish as we can. Obviously you see the flags and stuff that we've got going on, and the hearts. It's basically just have a bit of fun, have a bit of banter with it. We've got sweet stalls, we've got glitter face paint, and we've got all sorts going on. It's just going to be manic.
Hello and welcome to this week's Teesside Sports Panel. I'm your host, Jamie McDougall. Joining me on the panel again this week, Liam Kelly and George Harrison. Thank you both for joining me this week. Now, of course, the big story this week, of course, the sacking of Middlesbrough boss Aitor Karanka. Let's get your opinions on that first and foremost. Liam?
I don't agree with it really. I mean, I know we don't score many goals, but as soon as we start to open up, we're going to start conceding. I don't think it's the right time if you do it earlier. I know there's an international break coming up to give them time to find someone, but I don't think it's the right move.
George, do you have the same opinions as Liam?
Yes, I do actually. First, I think it's a disrespectful move. The fact that Karanka's led the team for like 3-4 years now, and he had a mess. He was left with a mess. He started with a mess, should I say? And then he's made himself a really nice team. The only thing about it, they're not scoring, which I don't know how to solve that. But is a new manager the answer? I don't know.
11 games to go in the relegation zone in a very tough run-in. Got to play Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, and I think it's Liverpool, and 4 of those teams in the last 6 games. Do they really need to get going quickly? I know they've got Man United this Saturday, and then there's the international break, as you said, but do they really need to find a manager quickly then?
Mostly over the international break, and anything we get from the match on Sunday, it'll be a bonus. But after that, we play Burnley, Hull, and Sunderland, I think, in a row, and they're the 3 games that we need to really concentrate on to get points from.
Those 3 games are going to be critical, George. Do you think 3 wins from 3 is vital from those?
Absolutely. If they don't win any of them, I think they're going down.
Liam, how do you see it going? Do you see getting the points from those games, or do you think it's game over and you have to maybe start again in the Championship next season?
Not really. I think it's game over. It hurts as a Middlesbrough fan to say that, but I don't see us getting ourselves out of this.
And looking at who might be the new arrival, there's rumours of Gus Hiddink this morning in the press. The heavy favourite Nigel Pearson, George. Who would you like to see in charge?
I wouldn't like to see Agnew in charge. I'm not the biggest fan of coach becomes manager. Very often that doesn't work. And I think they should bring in someone. Gus Hiddink, that's the one. Ranieri's been linked, but I don't know. He's out of favour at the minute. Hull and Swansea have done themselves quite well by appointing new managers. They did that a while ago, and that's transformed their season slightly. And they have got a better chance. They've got a bit more momentum at the minute to stay up, whereas Middlesbrough have left it far too late. 11 games. I remember when Newcastle sacked probably Kinnear, I think it was, and brought in Shearer for like 7 games. Did absolutely nothing for them. Hiddink. Go on, take Hiddink.
Liam, who would you go for?
I'd say Hiddink as well. That's the only name that actually I'd like there.
Does he have the experience though, that kind of a relegation battle to keep a team like Middlesbrough up?
I don't think that really matters. He has the experience in general, never mind a relegation battle.
But looking at the squad as a whole, of course, the transfer window's finished. The new manager coming in is not going to be able to make any improvements to the current squad, and there's no goals in that team. Where's the goals going to come from, George?
I think there is goals. I think there's potential for goals. I don't know why they're not scoring at the minute, but I think there's massive potential for goals. I know Negredo's slightly over the hill, but there's still a quality striker there. He showed against Swansea. I know this game was ages ago, but still. I think Rudy Gestede, he showed, even against Man City, he's a danger at some teams. John Stones could not handle Rudy Gestede. That kind of big man target man striker could be effective. Who knows?
And Liam, whoever comes in, do you want the person, whoever it might be, to be a lot more attacking minded?
Not formation wise. I think Karanka's been playing Clayton and Darun, where I think Darun would be better in Clayton's spot and then have more attacking midfielders from there rather than change the system. Because the system keeps us in games. I know we're not out of games much. At one point, there was only Liverpool who'd beat us by 2 goals or more. So we're in games when we need to, but we just don't have that attacking threat.
Yeah, I think I read that Middlesbrough have only scored 2 goals so far in 2017, and even that Lincoln City have beaten more Premier League teams than Middlesbrough have so far this year. That just needs to change soon. And do you think, looking ahead to Sunday, of course, Man United at home, George, do you think Middlesbrough can get anything from that?
I think there's a possibility to get that. Man United, going forward, they're a great side. I mean, although they are without some good players, Pogba's now out injured. Ibrahimovic, of course, is banned. I think Rooney probably might be out. I think there's possibility, a great possibility for them to win.
And Man United, of course, coming off a Europa League game on Thursday night, so there might be some fatigue there. It's an early kick-off on Sunday as well. Do you really think you've got a chance, Liam?
I fancy us for Sunday. I don't fancy us to stay up, but I think we'll win on Sunday. Even Mourinho last night said that he thinks his own team are going to lose against us. So I know he's just playing mind games, but hopefully that's just it. Yeah.
It's a perfect mind game.
And looking ahead into the end of the season, finally, where are they going to finish? Are they going to be safe, or are they going to go down?
20th.
I wouldn't quite say 20th.
Confident then. George?
Middlesbrough had a Jermaine Defoe, they'd be about 12th.
We don't have Jermaine Defoe.
But they don't have the Jermaine Defoe?
No, they don't. No.
So where are they finishing then, George?
I don't know. If Agnew's in charge, then they're going down. But if they bring in Hiddink, they could rise, I think, to like 13th or something like that. I think they actually could.
Okay then, well, thank you both for your opinions. George Harrison, Liam Kelly, thank you both for joining me again this week on the Teesside Sports Panel. We're back again next week. I've been Jamie McDougall, and we'll see you again next week.
Welcome to Teesside Entertainment. This week we're talking Beauty and the Beast, the latest in the live-action remakes from Disney. Be our guest and let's take a look. Joining us now is Kieran Homer and George Harrison. So, what are our first impressions going from the trailer?
I think the trailer looks great. It's gonna be a great success, I think. It's got some amazing actors in it. Ewan McGregor playing Luminaire, and Ian McKellen playing Cogsworth. And obviously Emma Watson, I think, is a great talent. I think it's gonna be a great film for her to really show how of an amazing actress she is after the Harry Potter films. She's been in a few, but I think Beauty and the Beast is going to be her breakout role.
George?
I think it looks fantastic. I think the creative team behind it is going to make it a big success. Bill Condon's quite experienced with this kind of thing. He did Into the Woods, I'm pretty sure he did.
Oh, yeah.
Which wasn't really that great, but I don't know, it's very Disney. Watson looks great for Belle, even though the accent is changed. I think pretty sure she was American in the animated film.
Very true.
But I think generally it looks great. The cast looks great. Although some of the CGI characters don't. They've changed the appearance of Lumiere from being a candle face to now having his face onto the holder. And Mrs. Potts also doesn't look great. It's just like she's drawn onto the thing. And I'm not too sure with the Beast. A lot of people have been saying it's like a sexy beast, which is kind of against the concept of it, because it's supposed to be horrifying.
Yeah.
But
he is quite tailor-made, isn't he? He's a lot more humanised than you would expect from the cartoon version.
Definitely. Do you think it's going to stack up to the original very well?
I don't think there's a chance of it stacking up to the original, just because we've got nostalgia surrounding that film. Most animated films, the original is going to be better than the live-action remake. But I think it'll be a good film, a good opportunity for young people today, children, to be introduced to Beauty and the Beast, and then see the animated version after. I think it'll be good. Not better than the original, but there aren't many films better than the original Beauty and the Beast.
George?
Well, there's a big thing these days about remakes and reboots and stuff, and how they play up the originals. Like Force Awakens was a very nice tribute to the original Star Wars. Mad Max was essentially the best one yet. However, this seems incredibly close to the original date, so 20 odd years. Seems seems unnecessary, and the original film got nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, which back in the 90s is unprecedented, really. And I don't think it'll stack up at all.
Okay, and lastly, what do we think of Disney's fascination with remaking their films in live action?
I think it's fine. A lot of people complain that it's ruining the original animated film. The animated film is still there for us to watch, go back and enjoy and love like we all do. The added bonus is we have, if they are great live action remakes of our favourite fairy tales and other stories Disney have made. So I'm fine with the trend of making live action versions of the animated films.
Okay. George?
They're completely unnecessary. A lot of people. They're completely They are just trying to milk the cash cow that they are. There's no creative benefit from it. They're just doing it money-wise, basically. The originals are great. Leave them alone. Imagine if they suddenly turned Pixar films into live actions. Be outraged. They're making a Lion King, for Christ's sake, which is going to look awful. And they're completely unnecessary. Why are they doing it? You can tell me why.
Money, I guess, is the main
money.
motivation at the end of the day. Right, that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid. Thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you next week.